Ferrari are throwing everything out of the window and are ready for a complete revolution in terms of car design for next year. We can expect the team in red to show up with something totally different to last year's car. Something that might even shock you. Ready to see what they've got cooking for next year? Ferrari fell to third in the 2023 constructors standings, but the team finished the season well, with 4 podium finishes in the final 5 races. The SF23's erratic handling and severe tyre degradation caused drivers Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc to have drastically changing form from race to race. This hindered them to fully challenge Red Bull throughout the season. The car's strengths were in braking, straight-line speed and short corner performance, but Vasseur adds that practically every aspect will be changed for 2024 ahead of a debut on February 13th. Revolution. I don't know if that is the right word because we have the same regulation now 3 years in a row that you can't change the situation massively, the team leader stated to the journalists in Maranello. Again, it's a matter of tenths of seconds. It means it's all 0.1 or 0.2% performance that we are looking for. It's not 5%. For sure, we have to do a step. I don't underestimate the step. We are changing 95% of the components of the car. Perhaps you can consider that it's a revolution. Sainz has already stated that the 2024 car is acting differently from his earlier simulated runs. Vasseur also believes Ferrari should focus on its own upgrades during the winter, feeling the team is making a good step forward, and then wait for pre-season testing in Bahrain to see how it compares to its competitors. He continued, "Now the expectation is that we are focused on ourselves. We are doing good step forward, but at the end it's always a matter of comparison. You can improve by 100, but if the others are improving by 120, you will look stupid. If they are improving by 80, you will look like a mega hero. So far, the most important is to continue to push, to continue to develop, to have the drivers into the middle of the project, and they are fully involved in the development. I think that, so far, we are going in the right direction. I don't know if the others will go more or less. We will see in Bahrain. And at the moment it's only a month and a half till the Ferrari 2024 Challenger makes its formal debut on February 13th. The essential aspects of the 676 project have already been specified, especially in terms of aerodynamic look. The Ferrari duo will be driving a car that differs significantly from the 2022 and 2023 models. On several fronts, the 2024 season symbolizes a definite watershed with the past. For starters, it will be the first year with a visible mark of Frédéric Vasseur in what is known as the Settebello at Scuderia Ferrari. What Mattia Binotto inherited, including the technical aspects of the single-seater, can only be left behind. The FIA's rule revisions, which went into effect in August 2022, harmed Ferrari while benefiting Red Bull. The team benefited from a 15 mm increase in the rear part of the floor, in addition to a 10 mm adjustment at the diffuser. Adrian Newey has admitted as much. The interesting thing is that some of our guys wanted to fight that change. But instead, I felt that in high-speed corners, we were probably behind Ferrari in 2022, and the change in rules could be suitable for us to close that gap, said Newey about the changes. Red Bull not only closed the distance, but also passed their competitors. Mercedes and Ferrari stumbled, while Aston Martin and McLaren joined the race. And as we all know, according to Vasseur, Ferrari 2024 will be more than a revolution, but an evolution. With the change of skin that began last year at the Spanish GP, the Italian car has been altered compared to its prior form. This was the first significant shift in aerodynamic concept. When the downwash side pods were installed, the results in the tunnel were negative in terms of downforce points relative to the initial specification. However, it was a necessary concession in order to open up new development paths for the next year's car. The emphasis was on preserving the SF23's strengths while correcting its issues. The most recent wind tunnel sessions resulted in what the aerodynamicists were seeking for: increased load without sacrificing too much drag. Important comparison work was done in Maranello between the SF23 specification post-Japan and this year's 676, to appropriately characterize the team's development before officially archiving the old model. The results revealed a recovery of roughly 30 load points, or 9% of usable downforce, which is worth about 4.5 tenths on average. Clearly, it cannot be regarded as a true and unique profit value because performance will be affected by a variety of other technical elements. With the same rules and tyres, it appears to be a decent figure, purely aerodynamic, and in accordance with the leading team's winter predictions. Nonetheless, no one has forgotten the significant gap between expectations and reality demonstrated by the SF23 since the Bahrain testing. Greater information should reduce development surprises. However, the volatility of these cars cannot be underestimated, as teams have discovered the hard way. The goal is to close the gap left by the RB19. Maranello, on the other hand, wonders how much time Red Bull has on its side. Some experts have often warned us that there are no miracles with the cars of this new generation. It is critical that the floor and tyres remain stable under varying situations. Ferrari and Mercedes made blunders in their 2023 development, jeopardizing their chances this season even further. Inevitably, this makes the RB20 the clear front-runner in 2024. McLaren took advantage of the two top teams' misfortunes and Aston Martin's dismal progress. The final phase, however, is reaching the Anglo-Austrian team, which remains the most difficult assignment to fulfill. We know that if we want to maintain the level of competitiveness shown in the second half of the season, we will have to be able to gain at least half a second over the winter. Andrea Stella, team principal of McLaren, confessed openly. In terms of pure aerodynamic load, this result is extremely comparable to what they discovered in Maranello with the 676 project. Will it be enough? Only the track will be able to tell, because no team knows how much the technical team lead by Pierre Wache has done in terms of RB19 development. The constraints set by the FIA following the breaking of the 2022 budget cap, which only recently expired, must not be forgotten. But next to the car design, there is another element that is holding back the Ferrari drivers. And former race engineer for Michael Schumacher has shed a light on what is preventing Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz from winning the championship. Luca Baldisseri, a key member of Ferrari's most successful era in Formula One as the Italian, was the race engineer for Michael Schumacher during his title victories between 2000 and 2003 before switching to race strategy, believes the Scuderia's chances of returning to the front of F1 are compromised. After enjoying an upward trend in momentum in the latter half of 2023, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz approach 2024, full of confidence about the direction of Ferrari, entering their second season under Fred Vasseur's management. Baldisseri, who currently works with Formula Renault Eurocup team Global Racing Service, does not disguise his continued support for Ferrari, but says there is one big issue that remains the Scuderia's toughest challenge. "I'm the guy for Vasseur, Leclerc, Sainz, and everyone else in the racing department," Baldisseri stated in an interview. But they have a problem, and this problem has a first and last name: Verstappen Max. Verstappen, who is coming off a third straight title heading into 2024, is quickly establishing himself as this decade's iconic driver, and Baldisseri attributes this to the Dutch driver's ability to lift the Red Bull above its typical performance level. "Every generation has its symbol," Baldisseri said. Ayrton Senna, Schumi, Lewis Hamilton. Now it is the Dutchman's turn. He is in the cockpit of the fastest car, but he is also the best. Driven by Sergio Perez, the Red Bull is less stratospheric. There is an additional difference determined by the driving. Like Schumi's Ferrari when he was at the top, only Michael knew how to make it irresistible. Last month, Baldisseri told Italian daily Gazzetto dello Sport that, even in 2023, Ferrari's SF23 could not have been that far behind Red Bull's powerful RB19. At least, if Perez is used as a standard. "When I analyse a single-seater, I always do it by looking at the performance of the second driver," he said. And in that sense, it is even clearer that Ferrari's performance was not much less than that of Sergio Perez's Red Bull. The other car was further ahead because it was driven by an alien. Also because the rules remain stable, which should help us get further there. To know exactly what is needed, we really need to work in the team. However, it is one thing to catch up with Red Bull. Another, slightly more difficult thing is to catch up with Red Bull and Verstappen. We'll only have to wait a little less than 2 months to find out where the teams are standing at the moment, but the anticipation is high for the Italian crew. Now we'll just have to wait to see if it really does materialise. What do you think? Will they be able to close the gap to Red Bull? And if they do, which of the Ferrari drivers will come out on top? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.